Why do I bring the Bible in? I like the idea that the Lord is a man of war, the Lord is his name. If you enforce the laws, obviously God would not have any problem with you, but when you don't, God has a problem with you. Now, this idea of motioning the court, I've had the experience of going to court for the most part the last 3 years. Yeah. And it's one side and the other. Well, we're going to try to dismiss the case, right? But we're not going to admit the evidence that you weren't in Brennan, Washington. Yeah. We know that you weren't in Swim, Washington, but we're not going to admit the evidence. We're going to try to dismiss the two-count allegation of December 31st, but we're not going to remove the protection order. See, you never quite do exactly what the law requires. Now, a lot of people don't like thinking of God as a man of war. They just don't see Jesus like that. Such a meek, nice person. Yeah. But these families that are very important to the Old Testament and some parts of the New Testament, my rights as a father are being violated, and I am not going to motion a court where my personal experience for the last 7.5 years is it's one side and the other. Yeah. On the one side, I go to VMO, right. I have bacterial pneumonia. I go to a charity to be able to buy the antibiotics. Yes. I do what I can. I go back and I talk to the doctor. I'm still coughing every night. I really can't breathe when I'm sleeping. He gives me a doctor's note, and then somebody from ONC calls Michael, and Michael says we don't pay for that. One side and the other. I go to the Housing Resource Center asking for rental assistance to rent a room for $400 that took me 5 years to find. Yeah. They say, no, we can't help you. All we can do is get you a deposit and half of the first month's rent. So that's what I do. And then I go to St. Vincent de Paul's. I get another $100, and that's $450. And then from the first of this month until right now, yes, I'm waiting to find out why it is that I haven't gotten any victims' resources. Now, there is no way for me to know, yes, until I did read that Peninsula Daily News, that my sons were in the wrong grades. Now, I gave you their actual birth certificates. I know in the last 7 years that you like torturing people. It's my personal experience. You'll go one side and then the other. You'll say, yes, we'll be happy to help you. And then when it comes time to actually help the person, you'll be asked, so right now. And then you'll say, no, I'm sorry, we can't help you. Now, I am concerned about paying the rent. I downloaded that Washington Interscholastic Athletics Association brochure from the 2018 football year. And then I present that to you as evidence. Actual birth certificates, dates of birth. And my son is going to graduate when he's 19 and a half years old. And you decided, well, we're sorry, Mr. Budnick. Now, your fraudulent court orders are enforceable everywhere in the United States. And for every police officer that allows you to do this, they are all complicit in the abduction, kidnapping, and trafficking of my sons. Now, the whole plan is on the part of the police and sheriff's departments. We're just going to keep him in a homeless shelter. We're not going to recognize his citizenship. We're not going to acknowledge our own crimes. We're not going to ever admit that he wasn't in swim, even though I gave you an email that I'd sent from this library at 4:48 p.m. Yeah. And you're not going to acknowledge that I'm not a credible threat to the minors named. Now, it's put me in kind of a pressure cooker. Yes. Because I'm going to have to explain to the landlord why it is that nobody emailed me or called me. There wasn't a civil rights coordinator in any school district that didn't understand the crime of holding children hostage, obligating them to be in a school district that doesn't recognize their rights as children to graduate with the class that they should be in. Poop. And their mother can't have custody of them because of the fraud of issuing the dissolution of marriage, where I never got a copy of it. Now, we're really in that pickle using baseball terminology? Yes, yes, yes. But God is a man of war. Which you wouldn't have thought Jesus as a man of war. Now, I was reading this. Could you get all the style of 1900s? Yes. This was 2004. Yes. Volume 17, number 2. Yeah. It's really interesting. There was, I spent some time reading it. Yeah. There was a Jewish family. Yes. And when I read this, a devil with a hammer in his hand, ooch, his boss called him, his fast working pace and mischievous streak. Oh. Now, this was an actual person in the trades, right, that happened to be Jewish. And it's kind of interesting that in that culture, right, there's some special, well, attributes that they give to those that are very involved in the trades. Um, the story goes that ironwork classes, so on and so forth, all those wares were brought. Virtually every major architectural firm hired him. Um, his family wondered why he wasn't. Well, they didn't wonder why, but they didn't understand the actual thought of wanting to be in the trades, and he had this tremendous gift of working with metal. Now, born in 1885, 96 Ontario Museum. Yeah. And his own forge in 1909 on, oh, he worked on the J.P. Morgan estate in Long Island. Probably a really nice place there. Yes. And then it says here that the actual spiritual elders didn't require him to stand up when walking in front of him. Yeah. Could you get me the spiritual elders of Judaism that, if you were to recognize them as a respect, yes, you would stand up when they walk in front of you? The rabbis? The rabbis. I'm going to need to know the actual credentialing of every individual in Judaism that is ordained or authorized to represent Judaism in any synagogue, school, or any other location. Yes. See, there's this family. There's this family. The Levitical priesthood. Yes. And then those that say that they're Jews, but they're not. Now, I know you don't believe the Bible. In fact, if you could in some way convince all of Christianity that it was absolute nonsense, yes, you'd probably feel somewhat successful. But they mentioned this book called the Torah in here. Yes. And I had some knowledge of the Torah and the Talmud. Yes. Now, I get the two books confused, but as I understand it, one is the oral traditions of Judaism that the Rabbinical Society had put together over the last 5 to 6 thousand years. Did a little study on that, and then it's the first 5 books of the Bible. The Exodus is included in the work that you, oh, here it says the Torah says that when an elder in the community walks by a craftsman, the craftsman, yes, doesn't have to stand up. Now, Samuel was probably inspired as well by Poland's distinctive wooden synagogues. Yes. Just go through the world and get me all of those elders, the seniors of the community. Now, I know that when you issue a court order that has the full faith and credit, I'm thinking that there's some Jewish individuals that dislike my way of explaining Christianity. But I'm going to need to know every employee of any